Hi, Marilyn here with Cotton and Chocolate. This is block 2, Sowing Seeds of Saturday Sampler, Color Collage. So now we're on to our piecing. So join along with me. This is page 7. So the first thing that we're going to do is make a bunch of half square triangles. You can see them scattered along the blocks here. And you know we have 4 blocks, so whatever we make, we need enough for all 4. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get our lime dappled, our B blocks, which are the ones that look like this. And you have, of those B blocks, let me remind myself, you're going to have 8 of those. And then I take my Quilter's Magic Wand that we talked about last time, and I'm going to put that little line from point to point and take my wonderful Sew Line pencil and draw a line on each side and mark all 8 on those lime, and I'm going to pair those with my 8 of my blue seeds, right sides together. I'm going to sew on those lines that I drew, and then I'm going to cut down the middle and separate those and press towards the dark color, and I elected that to be the blue. Okay, so press open, and then I did use my block lock. And we talked about that last time, so I'm not going to demo it again, but it's somewhere over here. Get a little spread out during this demo, but I'm block lock, and I used that, and I cut all of those down to a 2-inch square. So that's what those will look like, and you're going to end up with 16 of those, okay? So I cut all of those down to a 2-inch square, so that's that half square triangle. And then you're going to also pair your... What color are these? The yellow seeds with your ferns, and you have 16 of those. 16, I know, a lot. I'm gonna draw my lines on the back of my yellow seeds, 16 of those, and I'm gonna pair those with my ferns, right sides together. Well, it doesn't matter on that, any side is right side. And I'm gonna, again, sew on those lines, cut them down the middle, and I'm gonna press towards the green. And you'll have 32 of those. I know, okay? So 32 half square triangles of those, and that's your diagram. So you have diagram 1 of those and diagram 2 of those, and again, you'll cut these down to 2 inches. So you will have a lot, step 1 and step 2 of half square triangles, okay? And that's what those look like cut down, okay? So they finish at what? 1.5. They do, I know, okay. All right. My cameraman's questioning my math.
I thought earlier you said they finished at 2-inch, but
they cut to 2-inch. Okay. Someone's questioning me. I don't even know why. All right. They will finish at 1.5. Believe me. Okay. He was a math major. Can you believe that? I know. Okay. So now we have those. You're going to turn this over, and this is the block on diagram 3 that we're going to be making. And those are our great little corner pieces. Little 4 patches. Aren't those cute? Okay, just say yes because, you know, you're going to make them. So there you go. So this is a setup right here. It was set up somewhere.
It was right here.
They fell apart. I took them apart. Okay, so you're going to take 2 of those little yellow seed ones. That's why you made double. How about that? And then this one is facing, yeah, in like that. Okay. Just like the picture, just watch the picture. And then I line all of them up. So you need 4 times 4, right? Because you have 4 in a block and 4 blocks. I think we did this last time. So you need 16 of those. So I line all of them up. I'll kind of spread that apart, and then I will put these together, right sides together. And the really nice thing is if that you press them like I suggested to the blue and to the green, these will nest. I know, I'm thinking ahead. It's for you. It's all about you. Okay, but these will nest. And then I'm going to sew down here, and I'm going to put all 16 through my machine. Okay, and then I'm going to just put these together and put all 16 through my machine. And then you can look at your pressing. It will show your pressing right here. And you're going to press towards, well, here I did it upside down, but if you turned it, you're going to press towards the green, and then you're going to press towards the blue. All right, and then once you have those pressed, you're going to sew those together, and then when you're finished, you're going to be pressing to the final pair towards this side. I just had it upside down, but not upside down to you in the camera. but follow the diagram. Okay, so you'll have all these made. I have 2 of them already made here. And I don't know if it says what size that it should finish at a measure at a 3.5 inch square. Okay, and you should have a good 1/4 inches there on those points in there for when you sew these together. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. Now the excitement starts. Okay, so you're going to get out. I'm going to get some of this put away, out of our way. And we're going to be using the folded corner clipper. Some of you are extremely familiar with it because you've worked with me before, and some of this is brand new to you. So these are connector corners, corner to corner blocks. And so you can either traditionally take and draw a line down the middle and sew that. I'll show you the traditional way, and then I'll show you how you would use the ruler. And hopefully some of you that don't have the ruler will say, this is what I need to do because this is amazing. And those of you that already use it know how amazing it is. But I might show you a little trick with this that those of you that already use it that you may not know about, that you're going to love for these blocks, because boy, they need to turn out accurate, because this is what you're getting to. And these corners really need to work out well because these need to match. Okay. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 4 of each side in these blocks. Okay, so you're going to make 16 of each side. They're mirror images. All right. So there's a lot that you're going to be doing, and you really want them to turn out well. So if you look here, the first diagram 4, we're going to be making 1 mirror image. So you're going to be taking these rectangles, and they're the basis of what we're making. And the first one, if you look at it, you really just want to look at the direction. The first direction is A, and it wants to be folded to the left. So I'm going to be looking at this, and I want this to be going this direction if it's looking towards me, that way towards you. So we're just going to be folding it, just taking a fold and following the picture. And it's a good way for you to try out to always be folding it so that you can see what the diagram is showing you. So with that in mind, if I was just going to be doing this traditionally, I would take a ruler, I'd mark a line from point to point, and then I'd sew on that line. I take a ruler, I'd cut off a 1/4 inch, and then I press it up. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 steps or so. Okay, with the folded corner, what I do is I just look at the direction of my line. So the first time I do it when I'm teaching this is say, the first one that you do, make just a cheater fold so that you know which direction to make the cut. Okay, so here's my line. I can see a fold, and then this ruler is meant to do from like a 1 inch cut or smaller up to 5 inches. And they do make a larger one than this. So I'm going to lay this down at my 2 inch mark, right on top of both the square and the rectangle below it. I have this lined up at the blunt edge of the top, the edge, the 2, and the edge here. Okay, then I'm going to take my ruler and just cut it off. Okay, and you'll see here that it's made a little blunt indent, and that's a 1/4 inch. And down here is a 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to sew all the way along here. So that's my cut right here. Well, it's the different direction. Have I done? Yep, there's my cut right here. And you can see that I've sewn at that indent a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch down. But before I sew this, a little trick. You can, typically I put a stick a pin in here and then sew it. But now I take a sewing glue stick. Of course, do we sew them at the shop? Yes, we do. I use them for lots of other things. I take just a tiny dab of glue, and I just take a bit of glue and I glue it there. And I just lift it, and I took a dab of glue there. Now, these are not Elmer's glue sticks at your office supply store. These are fabric glue. They're water soluble. Okay, that's the kind of glue you want to be using for your fabric, and they wash out. Okay, so if you do see it on top, but I'm doing it in the seam line. Just a dab, it dries. So I do all 16. Okay, we're talking about consistency. Do everything all at once, the same step, so that you're very consistent. I take the next one. I put my next square over here. I cut it. Whoops, well, the same size square, not the bigger square. Ding-a-ling. Okay, put this down. Make the same cut in the same way. I do all 16 and glue it. So I have all 16 lined up and they're glued so they stay in line. I do the same thing consistently all the way through. I have them all set up and then I run all 16 through my machine. Got it? Yes. Just say yes. Okay. Now, after I'm done, I'm ready to press it. Okay. So I'm going to take and sew this through real quick. Okay. You're going to sew it. Okay.
You're really fast.
I am fast. Okay, now when I press it, I'm going to show you something else that I do. After I press it, I do set the seam. I set the seam, and then I press it, and I make sure that I'm pressing it in line so that it looks even. Okay, and it pops up a little bit. What is this? It's a clapper. I set it down. And while I'm doing it, maybe you've never seen those. It's a quilter's clapper, okay? And what it does is it draws the heat up and it sets your seam down. I have a couple of them. So while I'm doing it, I have long ones. So while I'm going, I set 2 or 3 under there. And as it dries, it sets the seam out and it lets your seam set really flat. What's that, do you ask? Do we have those at the shop? Of course we have them at the shop. But when I'm doing a lot of seams, I set this under and let it sit flat. Now, do I take my starch and spray it when it's all done? You bet I do. But this is kind of interim, in the interim when I'm going. But then I always put my starch in a spray bottle like this so it mists over the whole thing. So when I'm done, I do spray it. Okay? So just a little trick. So after it's done, oh, look at that. Look how flat it is. Oh, now it's sticking up a little bit, but it was pretty flat. So now you have to do it on the other side. So you have to watch the arrow for pressing. Oh, what did I do? I pressed it the wrong direction. Eek!
What?
Okay, pretend that you didn't see that. This one, this green is going that way. So you have to watch the way you're pressing. I pressed it the wrong direction. Okay. So, I know, Jerry. Can you believe that? Okay. So, you're going to press it that way for those corners. And then, to do the next one, you're going to put your blue seed on. And this is going to be parallel. So, this has to go this direction. See how that's parallel? So I just do a cheater fold so I know which direction, and then I know which way my cut is going to be. So there's my fold, and then my cut is going to be this straight way vertically. So I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to make my cut. Okay. Stick my glue on it, just a little bit in each corner. I'll do all 16 the exact same way. Sew it. Okay, and then watch the pressing. So these presses all go this way. Okay, so I have this one done. So I have this one pressed this way. Okay, and then the opposite one is going in a mirror image. So this one is going in this direction. So how do we go in this direction? So you have this one going in the mirror image out. So this one has to be going that way. So I'm going to fold this direction here. So how do we do that one? Well, that one's done horizontally. This one's vertically. This one's done horizontally. So I'm going to lay this down this way. Okay, and then my ruler is going to be sitting in this direction. Okay, cut it. I'm going to be sewing, okay, here. And then the iron is going this direction. And then my cut the other way would be going in the same direction. Let's say that I have this folded out and pressed or sewn and pressed out. This one would be going that way. See, they're going this way and this way. Okay, so this is going here. I cut it. You can see my cuts are parallel to each other. And I would sew that this way, and then this is following that direction. And I'd sew it and press it out that way.
Okay.
Okay? So now I have two of them that are equal, or mirror images, okay? And they're ready to get sewn together, and they're pressed opposite directions so that they will nest. If I did it correctly, this one's going this way and that one's going that way, so they nest together. But let me tell you one thing that I do. Instead of pinning them, I glue it. I stick a little bit of glue right here on that intersection and that intersection. Just a little bit, and then I'm going to nest it so that it sits right together, and I'm going to nest it right there. Okay? And they just sit perfectly. Now, if you are ever really anxious and it's not sticking right away, you can just stick it under the iron and it dries it really fast. And then I just do all of them at once and then iron it, or then sew it. And look, I got a pretty good match. Now, the thing is, they want you to press these open, and because I glue it, I kind of have to, you know, really open it because it's glued together. Okay, but I didn't put that much glue on it, but you have to open it, and then you do press it open, and then I'll just squirt it with a little bit of spray, and then just press it really flat, being careful not to fold my seams in so that it's really nice and flat. Ooh, it looks so pretty. Okay, so there you go. You got 4 of these per block. Okay, with the green sticking out in the border. So you have this, your 4 corners. Now you have one more thing. There's more. I know, it's so exciting. Okay, you have these big blue squares somewhere. Somewhere there's big blue squares. And guess what? It's another folded corner. Hooray! You'll be so good at them by then. So you take your little green squares that are here, your little limes, and you have to do the opposite corners first. Well, why? Because if you do all of them, you're going to catch the corners. So you're going to take this corner, and it's going to be a 2-inch corner, and I'm going to cut it off, and I'm going to glue it, just a little bit of glue, and make it stick. And then I'm going to turn it and do this corner. Okay, you get what's happening here. You always have to do opposite corners. This is a little snowball block. Okay, and then I'm going to glue it. And you have 4 of these to do, so do all 4, and then you're going to sew on these each edges. So I've done that here, and then I'm going to open it up. And then to go to the next corner, you'll see why you do the opposite corners first. Then I put this one down, and the reason you do it, because now look what happens. When I do this one, I'm cutting across corners that I've already sewn, okay? So I do this one, and then I'm just going to stick a little glue on and glue. And why am I gluing instead of pinning it? Well, I really feel that the glue keeps it right in place, and then I can do a bunch at once. And when I pinned it, I felt that the little triangles moved a little bit more than I liked them to under my foot. And you know, I'm just really picky like that. So, you know, if you can get something to work better and that stays in place for you, then why not do it, right? Because if it gives you an advantage, then I really feel you should take the advantage. So I'm going to glue that and stick glue there, and then I'll sew that, And then when you open that, you'll sew that and then open that, and you'll have your corner, and that will be your corner right in the middle, and it will actually come out exactly to size. You don't have to cut it down. Okay, so there's your corner right there with your perfect corners, and then your 4 pieces right here and your 4 corners. So let's look at your final piecing. Here's your picture right here. So there's your folded corner in the middle. So you're going to place that in the middle. So here's your piecing here. So you're going to be piecing this together here, watching this intersection, but you really, when you sew this one on top so that you can watch this intersection. Okay? And you should naturally meet that fold there, so you really don't have to worry about that. So these together, now we have a corner here that actually I'm going to have to just bear with me for a second, and I'm going to sew this intersection because I want to talk to you about precision piecing in that corner, because you have 2 intersections that are going to show if you don't take extreme care in that final piecing. So let me just show you that piecing for a minute. So we have our block right here. So this is, just gonna spray that. So you have this intersection right here, and this is what I call, you have this point to match and this point to match. And so this is what I call precision piecing. So you have to match those points. So you can kind of close your eyes and pin them together, or you can, and sew them, or you can pin them properly. So what I do is I take a pin and I run it right through that point exactly, and right through
show me that.
This point. So they're through each point, and I run them straight through. Okay, and I line it up and I push them together right where they should be matching. Okay, and I use from our store the thin quilting pins. They are glass head pins, and they're yellow and blue, and they're very thin, and that's what I pin with. So on each side, I'm going to go down below it. I'm going to go straight in and up to hold that pin in place on one side, and then I'm going to go straight in on the other side and up. So what I'm doing is I'm holding this so that this pin is staying perpendicular. Okay?
Okay.
And you can see the
show
top.
me what you did.
So I went in here and out, and so it's not pinned straight where the pin is going in. It's a cushion underneath, but it's holding the pin straight in. So now when I sew, I'm going to sew along, and I'm going to go slow, and right when I get to where this pin is, I'm going to pull it out, and my needle of my machine is going to go straight in there. And then hopefully, if everything goes right, I will have a perfectly centered intersection. Okay, and it works pretty darn good. Okay, now if you do this and it doesn't work and you feel that you need to pull out your stitching, pull it out, you know, a little farther on each end, and when you pull it out, pull it straight up. If you really rip it, you're going, even though this is not on the bias, you will stretch your threads in your piecing. It will stretch a little bit. My maximum that I ever pull anything out is 3 times, and then it's stretched too far, and every time it will get harder and harder to match. So pinning like this, yes, it takes a while, but I am telling you it's really worth it. I do this pinning all the time on these intersections. All my intersections I pin like this. I never skip this step. And my points, you know, are much better for it. And so give it a try if you haven't done this. Those of you that have done this are pretty happy for it. So that's the intersections here at all of these 4 corners. And we'll have many more of those corners that we're going to find as we go into this quilt. So it's good to start practicing that right now. Okay, so that's it. Follow the arrows for the rest of your pressing. And again, your block should be 9.5 inches raw edge, 9 and finished. So have fun with this block. Again, you're making 4 of them. Enjoy yourself. Reach out to me if you need any help. And we'll see you next time.